well, everybody's heard about the bird. The bird's a winner, well, a bird.
Grown men watch this shit?
A podcast about indie wrestling.
Bird is a winner, well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a winner, well, a bird, bird, bird. The bird's a winner, well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a winner, well, a bird, bird. The bird's a winner, well, a bird, bird.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one of our famed Hard 40 editions of
Grown men watch this shit. Or shit?
Shit.
I stopped saying it as a question a long time ago, apparently.
I mean, it is a question. I mean, are we more sure of it now? Are we like, yeah, all right, we're 40 episodes in, we do officially watch this shit.
Yeah. If there was any doubt. Yes, we've been watching this shit the entire time.
Yeah. Well, the question was a lie to ourselves the whole time, really, wasn't it?
Finally, it wasn't quite a confession, no.
No. Yeah, for our listeners playing at home, the Hard 40, this is the second attempt at a Hard 40 edition of this podcast. It's where we try to keep this podcast to a hard 40 minutes. Now, when we tried to do this last time, we failed miserably. I think an hour and 10.
And we're off to a terrible start with this beginning preamble of how long the show may potentially or may not be. So
I think it's good because if nothing else, we'll have listeners at home tracking the podcast as we go, just knowing how bad we're going to fuck this up.
All right, well, it's worth a shot. Let's do this.
Yeah.
What's going on, buddy?
Oh man, I believe we've both been having dog issues. I was about to tell you in a message, but I was like, why would I put it in a fucking Facebook message when I could tell you on the podcast? Yep. But yeah, poor Jelly, you know of her extended broken paw issues and such. Well, now, The other night, she jumps off the bed, comes back, and then her claw is just missing and it's bleeding. So yeah, I fucking don't know what happened, but she jumped off the bed and then fucking broken claw. So I don't know if she just jumped off of it with like too much force or something, but regardless, it meant that we had to go into the vet and then they wrapped it up and then they said come back in a couple of days and see if, you know, if it's looking better, we'll be able to unwrap it. You know, mind you, it cost like fucking like $66, $70 just for that first vet appointment for them to like look at it and wrap it up. Then come back. I went back this morning and they took it off, only for it to look all kind of gross and infected. So now she's on antibiotics, got it wrapped up again. Another $66, and then hopefully on Monday we'll be able to get it taken off, and little Jelly will be feeling better. But yeah, she's on no walk time at the moment, so she's a bit sad.
I bet. Well, let's keep our thoughts and prayers, as they say, with little Jelly.
Thoughts and prayers. How about you? You were telling me about Bronx's fucking tail.
Yeah, dude. Like, I tend to be one who freaks out a bit. So anytime something's wrong with the dog, I'm like, oh god, he's dying. No, he's been licking his tail and chasing his ass like very aggressively over the last couple of days. And he's got like people might be familiar with like a Boston Terrier. They have like little, sometimes kinky tails, a little screwy, and sometimes the lead gets stuck on it, like when he's running. And I thought or suspected maybe he like turned a corner really fast and might have cracked the tail or broke it potentially, because it does kind of move around a little bit. But then more I get calmed down, I think it might be something allergy related, either change in environment, or I did give him some new treats a while back, but it'd be weird that they just all of a sudden started making him itch. But I don't know. Maybe it's flea medication time. Who knows?
Yeah, well, keep me posted. As I said, if in doubt, I normally will go to the vet, but I imagine it's probably even more expensive in your neck of the woods than it is for mine.
A checkup, like just a quick look, is like about $35, but if they were going to go and look at a potentially broken tail, that's going to be an x-ray, and that's going to be quite costly. So it's just a broken tail. It doesn't look like it's falling apart or it's severed anywhere where it's going to rot and fall off. So if it's just broken, You know what I mean? It's like they're
I'm just terrified of the prospect of hanging out with your dog, and then, oh shit, your tail has rotted and broken off before me like some sort of zombie dog.
Yeah, the part of me was like saying, well, what if he's so fixated on it that he starts chewing on it and like tries to gnaw the itchy part off? Like, my dog is insane. I don't know if you saw the picture the other day I posted of him getting at the Venetian or the blinds, the hanging blades. He broke one day, and then I guess he realized how fun that was. The next day, he decided to destroy 5 of them in a large group.
No, bro.
And I came home. Yeah, dude, he's a fucking maniac. He's getting in the cardboard. He's in the terrible 10 months. Apparently, this is when dogs become jerks.
Oh, dear. Speaking of jerks, I have a jelly growling at me below the table because she has decided that 4:54 in the PMs is her dinner time, which is generally around about now, but still, you will wait, Jelly. You will wait.
Oh, she insists. You better take care of it. She's on the mend.
Yeah. No. She's all right. She's all right for now. Anyway, so other than that, I've been watching a lot of Jim Crockett promotions as part of this Bloodiest Matches list. I'm watching the lead up to the first ever War Games, and let me tell you, it's fucking great. All of these like Jim Crockett promotions promos are just gold. Whether it's Nikita Koloff, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express, like there's just so much promo gold on this show. It just makes me so happy to watch wrestling.
Nikita Koloff, the kind of guy that has the intensity that only cocaine can bring.
I'd say a lot of this program is the intensity that only cocaine can bring.
Yeah, I just remember seeing old promos of him or watching it back in the day. Like he's got all white eyes, like you see every edge of his eyeball and his iris, like the whitest eyes in the world, like the most intense dude. Like, yeah, as a kid, you're like, oh, that guy's just amped up. As an adult, you're like, oh man, that guy is yacked up.
Yeah, yoked out of his mind. He's one of my favorite parts is just the such over the top Russian accent, and like just the idea of like just an American's assumption of probably what a Russian accent sounds like. It just tickles me so much. I love the whole presentation.
And you imagine that at some point they did at least listen to a little bit to get a basic idea of where they're going to go with the accent, but eventually it just develops in time. It becomes its own little certain thing.
Yeah.
So they got the Nikita growl.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Uncle Ivan would have probably run through some practices with him to start with, but yeah, this is him in his babyface years. So once they turned Nikita to become a babyface as Dusty's tag partner against the evil, formidable force of the Four Horsemen. And might I say, one of the most surprising parts of this is just how fucking great a horseman Lex Luger was. He gets no credit. People bury him. He's was not included in the bullshit WWE Hall of Fame induction. Lex is killing it right now. I just want that to be said.
I think Lex is one of the guys that most wrestling fans don't think he's very good because they're all hung up on work rate and people who can do the most moves, and really that's pretty stupid in my opinion. Like, that's still cool. Mm-hmm. Like, I like a lot of moves, but Lex Luger is fucking awesome. He's like one of the coolest characters, and especially the total package in WCW later years when he was with Jimmy Hart and stuff, when it's just him looking in the mirror and just looking at his muscles. Like, come on, that's just quintessential wrestling. It's fucking great.
Yeah, and I'm watching him here in 1987, and I'm watching his in-ring work because I expected him to be green as all fuck, but he's solid as shit. Like, all of his stuff that he's not doing crazy outlandish stuff, but everything he does looks solid, tight. Like, there's nothing where I'm looking at him and he's looking like one of these people from the indies that just look like they've only been training for 6 months. Like, he's looking quite polished even in 1987. So, yeah, big fan of Lex right now.
Yeah, I hope more people turn around on Lex. A lot of fans gotta give him a hard time.
Yeah, his promos in 87 are bloody great as well. Just as part of the whole Horseman presentation, you get everyone kind of jumping in with their 30 seconds and all right, over to you, Tully. What do you got to say? Over to you, Arn. And it's so good, JJ. But yeah, Lex is just gold in every bit. He's probably the most consistent promo of the lot of them, which is ridiculous when you're thinking about, Tully Blanchard, J.J. Dillon, and Ric Flair. But in some of these ones, Lex is the glue that's holding it together. So, yeah, shout out
good old
to
Flexi
Lex.
Lexi.
Indeed. All right, so let's jump into the things. I wanted to, before we get into the things that we watched today, make a special mention of some current news that really got me down. A fucking legend of your neck of the woods wrestling history. I mean, you know how much of a fan I am of Portland wrestling. Did you hear the news about the Crippler Rip Oliver?
Yeah, I just saw Farmer post about that.
Yeah, fuck. He is like one of the all-time legends to me of the Portland scene. Right up there with like Roddy Piper, Buddy Rose. Like Rip was there for a fucking long time. Probably one of the most enduring heels of the Portland wrestling territory. Head of the Rip Oliver's clan. Which did not have the racial overtones that a lot of people think it did. It's one of those weird things to where you're like, wait, it's called the clan? Huh? It's just a group of dudes called a clan.
Hey, everyone, the word clan was used well before the Klan decided to co-opt the word clan. There was clans.
Yeah.
Short for clandestine.
Indeed. But yeah, one of my favorite things, a little memory of Rip. I was watching just like a whole year-long feud of Rip Oliver's clan when they kicked out Buddy Rose, and then Buddy Rose turned babyface, and then it was the dreaded clan comprised of Rip and the Assassin and Dynamite Kid. Dynamite Kid actually had a fantastic run in Portland wrestling back in the early 80s at that time, but they actually had a stretcher type of thing that they come out with, and it was called the Clan's carry-out service, and it had like a sign writing thing printed on the stretcher.
That's awesome.
The Clan's carry-out service, and it had the tagline of "We beat 'em and take 'em."
Yeah, that's great. It's like, not only do they beat the guys up, they remove them and take them to the hospital.
How considerate!
It's actually kind of nice. I like how they do it as like they're dirty heels, but they're just really great guys.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Rip, just great promo, awesome worker as well. He's one of the dudes that just doesn't get credit because, like, you watch Portland wrestling and you're like, this guy is like one of the best heels in the world right now. But it's like that rep didn't spread out because I guess he didn't have quite as much success in other territories. But man, that got me down. Rip Oliver entering hospice care. I don't know. I hope. I don't know. It's not much hope you can have when someone enters hospice care, but man, dude was awesome.
Yeah.
What if anyone wants to find out more about the fucking rich history of Portland wrestling? I reckon it's one of the best territories around. There's a fantastic YouTube channel called Testosterone Overload, the dude that runs it. I don't know why the channel is called that, but it has just the most encyclopedic collection of Portland wrestling. Like, pretty much all of the main matches, all the main storylines, so much shit just in order. You can watch like a lot of programs from like start to finish. Just some great stuff on there and some great matches. So I highly recommend that. So fucking hope you're doing okay there, Rip. Next up, any other news on your front, sir?
Literally on my front, I have news.
Ooh.
So I made mention in the past of maybe doing something wrestling related, and I followed through. I did some wrestling interviews at the tail end of the last Without a Cause show. A couple backstage videos or interviews to later be used in promotional material for a couple wrestlers. So looking to do more of that in the future. So that's fun stuff about me.
That's awesome.
I did we put over a guy who's in hospice.
Well, tangents, you know. I did see your sweet thing on Twitter where your nephew that you interviewed gave you a bit of a shout out.
Yeah,
It was fun. Yeah, man, looking good. I hope this leads to more of that. You had even in that short clip that I watched, you had a good energy for it, I thought.
I was gonna ask that. So it came off pretty good. No
Yeah.
bullshit, just because you're my buddy.
No, and the fucking what was it, 25, 30-second clip I watched. You look good.
Good.
Nice.
And they said that camera adds 10 pounds. So clearly there was at least 10 cameras on me.
Your jacket was looking fine. I'll say that.
Fuck
yeah. So, without any further ado, there are two things that the description of this podcast will say that we're talking about as the main event. First of which, I discovered something the other week. Someone shared it, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" Apparently, in the roundabout mid-80s era, Oprah came to a WWF show in Chicago and did a running commentary of it and interviewed a bunch of the wrestlers backstage for her AM television show at the time. I had no idea of this.
This is before Oprah was the Oprah she later became. It was when she was first popping off in Chicago and making a name for herself in the morning. But yeah, holy crap, what a video.
So this is like the whole thing, basically. It's like a 40-minute runtime that includes a couple of matches that she's doing commentary for, the interviews backstage, and man, this was a treat. This was just... You know, I watched some Oprah in my time. I always enjoy her enthusiasm, and she just brings that tenfold to this. She's just like, Oprah knows nothing about wrestling, but she's having a fucking great time, and she's really happy to be there.
Yeah, the commentary made it almost like it was like her and was it Johnny Valiant?
Yeah, I think so. One of the Valiants.
Yeah, but they were just kind of, she was just bouncing all her questions off of him as he's watching the show, and a lot of the questions were the goofy novice non-wrestling fan questions that when they're said out loud, they're hilariously funny to you.
It's great. It's like your buddy or a buddy's girlfriend is watching wrestling for the first time, and she's just asking these questions, and it's like, but it's Oprah. It's awesome.
One of my favorite was, she's like, it's almost like there's no rules out there. Or no, she's like, anything goes out there, right? And then Valiant's like, it's almost like it's that way, Oprah. It really is almost like it's that way nowadays.
I was quite tickled by the bit where she's like just confuddled by the nature of a tag match. She's like, so she just tags him, and then he's in. He's like, yeah. He's like, so you'll just do that, and then gang up on a dude, and then when you're tired, you just have a break. And she's like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And then I really loved her when she's like, well, why doesn't she just knock them out or something basically to that effect? Like, good question, Oprah. Good question. They're definitely gonna try.
Yeah, there were some other bits where like the babyface was selling, and she's like, he's pretty much done. Why doesn't he just pin him right now? You should pin him. He's finished.
Logic to dictate. Oprah is right.
A lot of similarities there between Oprah from 1985 and current day JR in AEW when he's pointing out people's shitty pins. Both people bring in the truth.
Oh, Tony, it's the Tiger Driver 98.
I fucking, just as a side note, I hate when Excalibur says that's the Tiger Driver 98, because it's not a fucking Tiger Driver 98. It's a double underhook pile driver. It's a J driller. Two fucking very different things. A Tiger Driver 98 is far more
power bomb.
Damaging. Yeah, it's basically a power bomb where you land the guy really high in the most dangerous position possible. Fuck.
Isn't that the one that Tyler Bate uses?
Oh, he calls it that, but that again, no way. I think he calls it a Tyler Driver 98.
Yeah, it's not as high angled on it.
Yeah, but still, calling it 98, like alluding to one of the most dangerous ones that Misawa ever did, is like just a fucking spit in the face of All Japan Pro Wrestling in my book.
Oh, speaking of Misawa, I bet, are you stoked that Nikki Bella's making it into the Hall of Fame?
Oh, I don't care. I think it's fine. Like, I think it's totally appropriate that the Bellas would go into that fucking joke of a Hall of Fame. Like, that Hall of Fame is so many years removed from anyone treating it with any sense of credibility. So I don't know why people are, like, getting all up in arms about it. It's a fucking joke of a Hall of Fame to sell tickets for like one dude who decides, hey, on a whim I'll put this person in. So it's like, why the fuck wouldn't he put the Bellas in? Who cares?
That was my subtle way of putting over Nikki's forearms. Misawa style.
Really?
Yes. She really lays it in, brother.
Yeah, I mean, she's quite a stiff worker. That
she's a student of strong style.
Gosh.
Let's do this brief aside. Yeah, Hall of Fame. I don't care. People say one of their complaints is these Bella twins don't belong because they didn't like wrestling. Well, as somebody pointed out, I don't think Frank Gotch and George Hackenschmidt had watched any TV wrestling. Those guys got over pretty good.
Yeah, like all of those fucking wrestlers, like from the fucking 40s through the 70s, who were like fucking there because that is their way of fucking making money. It's like they could not give a fuck about loving pro wrestling or whatever. They get in it because it's like a great con to make some money. And then they're there and they end up, being fucking great and ending up loving wrestling. But it's not like they were some fucking nerds, tape trading like myself.
Imagine the prerequisite is you have to be a mark as a kid to be a Hall of Fame professional wrestler. That's like so stupid.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, I still would not call the Bellas Hall of Fame professional wrestlers, but
they clearly are, Fred.
They are in the WWE Hall of Fame, sir.
The reality of the matter dictates that you are incorrect, unfortunately. But hey.
I'd say that's the Hall of Fame of WWE. It in no sense is a professional wrestling Hall of Fame. But that is a different discussion for a different day, I think.
God damn it. So anyway, Oprah, she had some awesome interviews.
Yeah, I think the interviews were even better than the commentary, right?
100%. So we got one from Jesse the Body, another one with Ivan Putski. We had Don Morocco and Mr. Fuji, and then we had Hollywood Hulk Hogan, but just regular Hollywood or regular Hulk Hogan at the time. Mm-hmm. But I want to make mention of a comment that Hulk Hogan said.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about, sir.
She mentioned how tan he was, and Hulk was like, "I'm even darker than you, sister," or some shit.
I could not believe that line.
Like, Oprah's like, doesn't even bat an eye. So amazing. But Hulk was hilarious. Like,
I loved how Oprah was giving Hulk shit. Like, because Hulk...
busting his balls good.
Yeah, because he was like... It was funny. I almost thought every single other wrestler that she interviewed, like, they kind of approached it like a wrestling interview, but then she sort of, like, got into their personality and made it more of, like, a real character piece interview, and you got to get a little bit of a sense of who that dude actually is. But with Hogan, he was just there to do his fucking Hulk Hogan promo, and every time Oprah tried to, like, take that off the tracks, you could tell it was getting to him. It's like, I almost thought every other wrestler in it actually came across well, but, like, in the context of it, I'm like, wow, everyone else seems like they could actually be nice people, but Hulk Hogan really comes across like such a piece of shit. Yeah, like there's a bit where he's like bragging about how he's gonna take Oprah on a night out on the town. He knows all of the top spots in the top clubs in Chicago. Yeah, Mr. T told him. And then without a fucking breath gap, Oprah's just straight up just like, tell me one.
He has nothing.
Yeah, and then he's like changes the subject or something. But, yeah.
And then she starts grilling him about drug use.
Yeah,
goes off about clean living. Like, oh man!
But I mean, he took that weird because that was coming off of the thing with Putski, where Putski was telling all of the kids out there, you don't need to take the steroids or do the drugs. Just do it clean in the proper way, and don't go and drink that alcohol, and just trying to do that classic story. So I guess she's trying to do the same thing of saying, none of us are. So she brings it up, but then I think Hogan thought that it's like
he was grilling him.
Yeah, she was grilling him about him doing steroids, and then he got like even more Casey. Man.
Yeah, and I love when he just took off at the end, but really. The best fuck, I just had it. Something he said. Oh man, it totally escapes me now. Give me a second. Anyway, continue. I'll think about it.
Yeah. I mean, I loved the Jesse Ventura one because Jesse was a heel, pretty over the top heel, but at the same time, she like really sort of got past like the bravado. There was a great bit where she was like, so she said something about why do they call you the body? Yeah, that was it. Why do they call you the body? And then he just takes a moment, looks at her, and then just like, why do they call me the body, Oprah? And then just like cracks this amazing bicep, over the top bicep pose, and then just like the look on Oprah's face was just priceless. And then she's like, so what do you like to do outside of wrestling, Jesse? And then just
golf.
Yeah, he again doesn't even fucking take a breath to just be like, well, Oprah, I like to golf.
Yeah, they actually had a great rapport between the two of them. I totally remember the Hogan thing now. Like, she asked him, so I heard you when you first started out, you were kind of overweight and stuff. And he's like, yeah. Then I started talking to the big man upstairs and got my vitamins and prayers, brother. Like, what? I was fat till I found Jesus.
Yeah, had a come to Jesus moment, and God told me, don't be eating any more of that fucking fried chicken or that candy. You know, it's time to just say your prayers, eat these vitamins, and hit the iron, man.
Yeah, so good.
So good. Oh, and yeah, fuck. There was something great in the Putski one. I can't even remember it now. But...
Dude, his little quote. He goes, "Sticks and stones break my bones, but what a word's gonna do."
I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
And he actually started off like, the old saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but what are words gonna do?"
That's exactly how I remember that saying.
And God, good Lord, Ivan Putski, what a freaking body on that guy! He's ridiculous.
Oh man,
like
Oprah was just like,
dude.
she was just mystified by him. I think the whole time, every time he was like doing his muscle poses, she was just like, oh boy.
And I forgot how big Don Morocco fucking was. Like,
Don Morocco came across as a nice guy as well, I thought.
Oh yeah, really personable. Like, what do you do when you're not wrestling? He's like, well, I spend a lot of time traveling from town to town. Like, really soft spoken.
No, spend time with my family.
Yeah, and he's like a heel with Mr. Fuji. Like,
yeah.
They totally seem so delightful.
This is like my non-stop thing of wrestling heels, always better dudes than the baby faces, from my experience.
Oh, and that actually lends perfectly to the film that we saw.
Oh boy. So, this is what we've been talking about for the last 2 episodes of the show. Building up this fucking wrestling movie that we're going to watch, Mad Bull. I was raving about it because I was somehow confused and thought that the dude that we've fallen in love with, Golden Moose Cholak, was in this. Side note, not in the movie at all.
Yeah, it was the best. Chris sends me a message like, yeah, I watched the movie. By the way, Moose Cholak's not in it. Still a good watch.
I feel like we've mentioned it enough times, so we at least need to watch the movie, despite Moose's presence or not presence. But I guess one of the main reasons why he probably was not in it was because this movie was quite ahead of its time. I think other than like the fucking Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, this is one of the only movies that I can remember that is just brazenly breaking kayfabe from start to finish. And
in a way that's not insulting. It actually...
It's got depth.
Okay, yeah, that is like that seems like what would go down in wrestling, except for all the fictionalized crazy stuff that later occurs. But yeah, it came pretty straightforward. Like the heels worked out at a separate gym. They couldn't go work out in public because they get harassed, or the booker was like literally in charge of the show. He came out and made sure they didn't actually get mad at each other. Like, it really was a behind the scenes look based around this fictionalized story.
Yeah, for real. So this is 1977, basically like a made-for-TV Lifetime kind of movie. That was like it was kind of like a promotional vehicle for the main dude, the actor, fucking what's his name, Alex Karras, who was apparently quite a famous football player, who ended up going into film, and he actually wrestled a bit. From my research, but
he was a TV show dad. Like, I think he was a dad
real
on
famous.
Yeah,
but I think he just did great the whole thing. But I mean, there's a little summary for people, what would you say in one sentence as a bit of a summary of what the premise of this movie is?
Okay, so we got this long-time heel wrestler who is in a feud with the journeyman heel wrestler who's in a feud with this babyface team, cocky guys, but that's their real side personality. They're baby faces, but in real life they're jerks. It's like what a weird situation. And we got our Mad Bull character who actually his father was into real wrestling and finds his professional wrestling quite shameful.
Yes, he's quite disgusted by his son, what his son has done with his life.
His ex-wife, the same, finds wrestling to be deplorable and barbaric, and won't allow his son to watch it.
The son is getting bullied at school because the kids are telling him wrestling's fake. There's a heart-wrenching moment when the kid goes to his dad and is like, "Dad, is it really fake?"
Yeah.
Fuck.
And another great thing is the kids are calling the kid Mad Bull Jr. at school. Not only they'll tell him wrestling's fake, but they're giving him his father's gimmick at school. But anyway, basically it's a story of him, kind of almost sick and tired of wrestling, and then he finds his love for wrestling again when he finally gets a title shot. And then, well, what do you know? At the same time, there's a obsessed, scary fan.
He also meets a great love interest at the local food grocery store, who is I don't know. She ends up being a bit of a bad person as well, I reckon. But she has a good point.
Let's not get away too much, but yeah. But we can't undersell the obsessive scary fan. That's such a weird guy.
So he's basically like Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver. I could see a bit of correlation there. But get this, did he look familiar to you?
He's fucking Bob, dude.
Yeah,
from Batman.
Bob from fucking Batman with Jack Nicholson, my favorite Batman of all time.
The number one guy.
I popped so big when I realized it was Bob.
Same, man. I was like, this guy is just so great and creepy, and I honestly, it was a really enjoyable movie. No bullshit. Like, it was very 70s, 80ish because it was slow paced. Just some dialogue driven scenes, not a lot of action, but wow, the main event or the climax of the film was this awesome cage match, and not to give too much away, but it's actually pretty well booked match. But at the very, very end,
with the music, brother.
Yeah. As far as the movie goes, I was actually on the edge of my seat. The anticipation music when they're both on the top of the cage, dude, was so great.
Oh man, there were just so many enjoyable things about this movie. And it's great. I think one of my favorite things was that I'd fucking never heard of this movie before, and I'm the kind of person to where if I hear about, this movie involves wrestling, I'll seek it out. I've watched so many movies, even just that have a brief thing about wrestling. Like, I got so excited in Donnie Darko when that dude was dressed up as Hulk Hogan for Halloween. Like, that's my level of wrestling fandom in film. So I didn't even know this fucking movie existed until I read about it when I think, Dave did a story about Alex Karras in the Wrestling Observer a few weeks ago. So that's how I got onto it. But man, it was such a treat to watch. I actually forced a bunch of my buddies to watch it all together as well. Last Saturday night, we all got together and it was like, what are we going to do? Well, I have this movie that we've been talking about watching on the podcast for a while, and I have to watch it. So let's do it. And one of my friends, Mitch, was very much not a fan of this idea. He was proposed 10 other movies we could watch instead. But no, Bradley was on board, and we all just watched it together, and I think at the end all of us were like, fucking low expectations, but great movie.
Agreed. I definitely was almost expecting not to enjoy it and feel it to be a chore by the time I was done, but I really enjoyed the whole damn thing. And one of my favorite parts is they clearly interviewed wrestlers for this movie, and they got the most famous line ever that any wrestler has ever said about professional wrestling. The booker reminded the guys, "Hey guys, this isn't ballet."
After the babyface on purpose breaks the heel's arm just because he's a dick.
Yeah.
Mad Bull's brother. What was his name? The assassin? Something.
The executioner.
The executioner. Who actually was a lovely guy. Nicest executioner you will ever meet.
Yeah, that was one of the best parts. The announcer, I don't know what I'm seeing here. The good guy, or the champion, is cheating, and the bad guy is playing fair, or whatever he said.
I loved that. That announcer was one of our favorite parts of the whole movie. Like, we were listening to this announcer, and we're just like, just the reverence that he gives the littlest things makes me care so much more. Like, if I was watching wrestling today and it was like, I cannot believe it. This wrestler is breaking the rules. Shocking. Like, just got me so much. The announcer was just fantastic. Yes.
Fantastic.
Man, it did a great job of getting you invested in the story too. I really cared about the plight of Mad Bull. About, I'd say, even a third of the movie in, I'm like, I really care about this guy. I really hope his life improves.
Oh, they also did the other cliche. Mad Bull is now more serious about his wrestling career, so he's wearing trunks. He goes from tights to trunks.
Well, that was great because it's like there was two things. We had an amazing montage of him training with his hard-ass, real shooter European wrestling dad. And the dad making him, like, run along the back of the car. And he's like, oh. He's like, all right, you tired? You done? He's like, yeah, all right, we're done for today. And he's like, all right, 1 more mile. He's like, oh, Dad! Great training music as well.
I love the line, what's your strategy to beat him? I'm going to wrestle him. Honestly, we're gonna probably give away too much of the damn movies. You guys gotta watch it. It's fucking great. It's on Amazon Prime. If you have Prime, that's where I watched it.
Yep. Oh man, so good. There's so many little things in there that's just almost like it's just a treat. There's like moments that you'll laugh. There's moments that you'll almost cry, and there is perhaps the greatest final scene that wraps up the entire movie of all time. That just, I don't know how to describe this without like completely spoiling it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Which part?
Basically the climax of the movie of after the match, and then the things happen involving a pickup truck.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that was so funny.
Man, I just found that movie tremendous in every way.
One more thing before we go. When the stalker guy was trying to push him off the road, they kept on shooting back to what was clearly the two stuntmen driving the cars, and the guy who was getting rammed into, when they kept actually showing his face, he's freaking out, like, no, what's going on? And they show the stuntman. Because he's a stuntman, he's calm and cool and collected because he's doing these stunts. No expression whatsoever on his face. He's just got his hands on the wheel and driving. Well, the guy he's representing is apparently freaking out. They keep on cutting back and forth. It's so great. You gotta watch it again.
Hey, he's not there to act. He's just there to take crazy bumps.
Exactly. Like, I'm not gonna actually express it with my face. I'm too busy making sure I don't actually crash this car as somebody runs into me.
I remember one bump where I was just thinking that stuntman fucking died. It looked terrifying.
Dog, shut up. He's whining. He's right here. He's whining. He's got an itchy tail.
Yep. All right. Well, we have like 40 seconds, 30 seconds to keep this a hard 40. I think we can.
Oh, shoot. Well, we should actually blabber about something else. My trip to Tampa, I just booked my flight, so I will be in Florida for WrestleMania weekend. I imagine you were still a no-go, correct?
Yeah, it got to the point where I was like, hey, I can either do this or I can do bowler. And to me, our bowler times, I think, better than the Mania weekend times. So I think I'm going to hold on to that. And I don't know if I was mentioned to you, but I'm almost hopeful I might be able to do All Out as well, depending on when they announce it. So that'd be
very
a
nice.
sweet double header. But yeah, we'll
Very
see how we
nice
go.
indeed.
But I'll definitely be coming over and hanging out with y'all for bowler. But yeah, I hope you guys have a tremendous WrestleMania weekend.
You think we can squeeze Mexico in again?
No, I think we have to. Maybe we can finally see that Lucha Libre show.
Yeah, I won't worry about my tattoo so much and maybe go see some more strippers.
Juan is a tremendous travel guide, just so everyone knows.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, we did it.
We did. Man, look at us. Hard 40. I mean, it's becoming a bit more of a soft 40 now that we're at 40 minutes and 41 minutes there. So, but I think we still did good.
Yeah, all right. Before we get out of here, let's do some plugs of not only ourselves but cool shit. I want to plug my Twitter and Instagram. It's at Jaims Vanderbeek, Jaims Vanderbeek. I also do 2 other podcasts now. One, The Steel Cage with Derek Montilla. You can check that one out at The Steel Cage on Twitter. And I am part of a show called The Jabroni Journal on KISW's podcast page on KISW.com. So if you haven't gotten enough about me talking about wrestling, there's some more. And then lastly, the cool thing I want to plug is there's this new show on Amazon Prime, and it's freaking dope. It's called Hunters. It's got Al Pacino in it. And the premise is there are Nazis that have escaped to the U.S. and they're being hunted down by this team of Nazi hunters. Ooh. And it's fucking great.
That sounds incredible. I've seen posters for this, and I was pretty much into it just because of Al Pacino. But I was hoping it would be good as well. So it's good.
Yes, very, very, very good. It's
wonderful.
Kind of weird at points. It doesn't know what it wants to be. Like, it's very serious at points, and then really fucking silly and slapsticky, and then I don't know. It's all over the place at points, but it's really enjoyable. And Jordan Peele has a hand in it, so honestly, it's a fun ride.
Nice. Yeah, it reminds me a bit, by the sounds of it, of the Inglourious Bastards plot.
Oh yeah, it's like it's based in, like, I think the early 50s or 60s. Right. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I will check that out. That sounds wonderful. Okay, on to my plug skis at Chris Things on Twitter, at Chris Things on Instagram, all the wacky wrestling art that you could hope for. I also want to give a shout out to our friends at Social Suplex, the great guys that keep this magic happening. The Social Suplex Wrestling Podcast Network, consisting of, in addition to the Grown Men Podcast, great shows such as One Nation Radio, the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, All Elite Show, and Keeping It Strong Style. All of that at socialsuplex.com. Follow us at Grown Men Pod. And for my cool shit plug ski, I just wanted to put over... It's been a long time since this came out. In no way current, but I just listened to that Killer Mike Ric Flair song. Are you familiar with this one?
I don't think I've heard it. But I remember it went down.
It's like a compilation of like 4 different amazing Ric Flair promos from Crockett, and just like Killer Mike, like just in. It's everything that's great about Killer Mike. But yeah, and just fantastic Ric Flair promos, and just the beautiful meeting point of territorial wrestling and Killer Mike hip-hop is just one of the best things ever. So yeah, I believe it's just called, it's Killer Mike, and it's just called Ric Flair. It's amazing.
Woo.
So subdued.
It's a very relaxed woo.
Yeah, well, they can't all be crazy, loud, high-pitched woos. Some of them are just like a woo.
Most people are sleeping.
Like, what is Will Ferrell's character in Eastbound and Down, the Ric Flair one?
Ashley something. I forget.
Yeah, but yeah, he dropped some low keys like woo.
That honestly, before we get out of here, what a brilliant idea! that Will Ferrell just like, yeah, I'm gonna have a Ric Flair themed character. No big deal. It's pretty cool.
Honestly, like, right, one of the best things of Eastbound and Down. But that's a great show.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right.
Before I get one last thing, dude, I've gotten through 8 seasons of Curb. What a fucking show!
Oh man, what did you just jam them all together, or you've just finally?
I've been cranking them all out. I've never watched them before. Dude. I started the first season like 3 times. I watched the first 3 episodes and then forget about it and start over again. And then this time I go, no, I'm watching it. So fucking Curb rules.
Oh man, it's been one of my favorite shows for so long. I haven't even started the new season yet, but I loved the last one tremendously. If you've watched it recently, is the wrestling episode fresh in your mind?
I don't know if I've gotten there. I'm not all the way through 8.
No, this is like back in season 2 or 3.
Oh, not fresh in my mind.
He basically tells this wrestler's kid that wrestling's fake, and then the kid's dad, who's a wrestler, gets really hot at him.
Oh, hell yeah, I remember that part. Yeah, because he originally it was the guy Taylor Maine or whatever. Yeah, he originally runs into him on the road. Yeah, okay, totally. Yes, I do remember. That was great.
Yeah, so good.
Larry David's the man. I'm Larry David, and I happen to like wearing women's panties. It's my favorite line so far. All right, let's get out of here. Hard 45.
Soft 40. Yeah. Oh, hard 46 and change.
Get swifty, ladies and germs.
Thanks, guys. All right. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Get it. All right, buddy. We'll talk soon.